Hey everybody, welcome back to Phantom Power Hour. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jeremy.
How are you, Jeremy? It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been, those days that just don't start right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm having one of those.
Oh, no.
Now there's like backhoes right outside, so if you hear construction, I didn't order it.
But it's happening.
But I got my coffee, so
there you go.
We're okay.
And it's in a cool Alcatraz mug.
I love this mug.
It's a good shape.
I said that on a video once, and then somebody was like, they called me drunk because they're like, "No, who likes a mug?"
Whoa.
Every time I get this mug out, I think of that video because I was actually feeling good. I was like, I'm gonna be myself on camera for once, and they're like, he has a drinking problem. Dang it.
That's a good cereal mug. You ever have cereal from a mug?
I don't eat cereal.
Well, I haven't had cereal in a very long time, but
when you do, it's in a mug.
It's either in a mug or, as previously stated in last episode, a casserole dish.
That's a lot of cereal.
When I go hard.
It is a wide. There they go.
There, yep. Constructing away.
I hope we can get out. That's a full-on dump truck. What the heck is happening?
Don't talk about my butt that way.
I don't know. We may be here forever for now because that's the only way out. And they're blocking it. So
trapped.
This is great.
There's worse places to be trapped.
That's true. We got some fun stuff here. What are we talking about today?
Well, I thought that maybe we could keep on the DIY train a little bit today. We can talk about, like, we've toyed with the DIY aspect every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Everywhere from like budget studio, like home studio setups. Last week we talked about DIY 500 series kind of units and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have implemented a whole bunch of homemade like acoustic treatment around your studio, and you touched on a little bit on your channel, but I thought it might be kind of interesting and fun to do a deeper dive into that, like
the specifics, like what are you gonna get, how are you gonna build it?
Yeah, what are you gonna get? How can you build it? Where can you look? Like, if anybody doesn't have a whole lot of understanding on this kind of stuff, and you wanted to make your own panels, well, now you have to choose, like, am I using insulation? Am I using what is it, like sheep's something or other? I don't remember what it's called.
Sheep's wool? Lanolin?
Maybe. Sure.
Lanolin?
See, this is why.
That was an Anchorman reference. I don't know.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Sorry.
Go.
If you put it on there, he will read it. I don't think you can drop an F-bomb that early and still be monetized. Joke's on you. We're not monetized, so subscribe.
Subscribe indeed. And maybe even like. Who knows?
Can like us on Indeed.
Can you?
Are we on Indeed? I don't think so.
That's not an Indeed from me. But yeah, how we can go about sourcing materials to build our own acoustic treatment. What types of acoustic treatment even is there that we could kind of implement? And maybe a general overview of what you could be looking for, maybe should be looking for, depending on the type of room you have, because it all boils down to that, right? What room are you working out of? Mm-hmm. And what is the use case? Is it your control room? Are you mixing from there? Or is it more of like a rehearsal space? That kind of thing. Okay.
Well, first things first, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's all.
No down.
So I'm going to be looking at Lowe's because that's what's close. It's literally like 3 miles down the road. So if I need something, that's the easy place for me to get it. But a lot of these things are going to be, I think, let's pull up Home Depot as well, just to see. Because if you're in the contiguous U.S., is that the right? Did I use that right?
Contiguous-us.
Contiguous. If you're in the contiguous, one of those should be close.
What other hardware stores are there?
I mean, there's mom and pop places. Like, we have Kramer's or Carter, whatever that is now. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
If you you'll be close to something. So, like, I think this is about all the examples we could get, but I want to see what they have. Thermofiber.
The stuff I was thinking of earlier was rock wool when I said sheep.
Ah, yeah. Sheep's wool. They do have rock wool, Home Depot, but it's the comfort batting, which is thermal insulation, not sound insulation. Like they don't do the same. Like you can't buy both products and expect them to do either thing.
Yeah. So I think before we dive in too deep.
Sorry, just jumping right in there.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Making like a frog knee deep.
I want to give the people their information.
Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate.
Trying to provide value, folks. So you hit the subscribe button.
For more value.
He's happy about it. I'm mad. Why haven't you done it yet?
Oh,
Steve?
That's true. Oh, Steve. We talked about this, Steve. So for acoustic treatment, let's talk about the philosophy of it real quick. Mm-hmm. So there are some instances where you want to absorb the sound, which is what I think 90% of people, especially folks that don't know a whole lot about it, that's what they are thinking, right? Sound absorption.
Yeah.
But then in other cases, you would want to diffuse the sound, or in other words, like have it bounce away in different directions instead of just straight off the wall or something, right?
Yeah.
Some cases you want to trap the sound instead of necessarily absorbing it, right? Are there any other kind of use cases that I'm missing out on here?
I mean, to be clear, I'm not a professional acoustician, however you say that. Acoustician. But I mean, those are the main things that you would want to cover. I mean, there's different tools to do each one of those because you can have. I mean, every time I talk to Gavin Haverstick Designs, killer, like studio designer, acoustic. He like that dude knows more about physics than I will ever hope to know.
He is the professional acousticien.
Yeah, acousticien. I don't know. And he talks about different products like that do different things, and I'm like, I just go so far over my head. But I know there is insane value in what he provides and his knowledge, and the difference it makes compared to what I would do is vast. But the price difference is also vast. So if you're just getting started and you just need a room to sound decent, you could do a lot of damage yourself. It's like the hiring people will get you the last, I don't know, a few percent. I don't know what that number is. Clearly, I haven't done it. But I know people who have built careers on DIY rooms. And then once you start to realize that room is a weakness, and I'm kind of getting there, then that's when you call in the pros. And you don't have to start there. You definitely could. Holy cow, that'd be a leg up if you've got the funds for it. But
maybe it would be a leg up. We touched on this a while ago in a different context, but if you started in an ideal room, then you don't have the opportunity to gain experience sorting out a lot of those problems yourself.
Yeah, but rooms are weird though. Like, I mean, I'd see that argument with gear, but with rooms, even if your room's not perfect, but you know what your room does, you can translate to other rooms.
Okay.
Like the whole goal of getting a room like as flat as possible is for translation. So that's a translation of what you're working on outside of your room. So take it to the car, it sounds like it's supposed to. But it's also for you. If you walk out somewhere, you are so in tune with what flat sounds like and how to mix something in a neutral state that if you go to a different room, you can now mix in that room.
Yeah.
Like if that room is also flat. So
I guess a little bit lost in translation because I am totally on board with what you're saying from like a console room, but I'm thinking more of like your live room. So you can have the most ideal drum room, for an example, which is going to be great. But if you are working in the confines of a less than perfect room,
got it.
then
Yes.
you have to work around like different techniques.
I get behind that. With the room, like starting in a bad room is, I think, a good thing. Because
For a live room, right?
for a live room, yeah, not a mixing room, that can be weird. And if those are the same room, then you're kind of stuck. Like you have to treat it really well if you're mixing in the room you're recording in. And I think when we're saying recording, like we're basically talking drum sets, maybe amps. Although I find the deader the room for amps, the more I like it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of folks, if you are having your own home studio, you probably have a closet somewhere, and you can just chuck an amp in the closet.
When I get people to send me tracks that they've done and the room sounds like trash, I'm like, just go stand in your closet. Yep. Set your mic up in front of your clothing that's hanging and sing in that direction. And it always sounds way better. Like it doesn't look good, but it sounds great. So maybe your solution is you just need to sing in your closet.
This is true.
Because, I mean, think about it. It's a bunch of suspended material. It's it's flexible. So it's going to collect that stuff and transfer that to heat, which is essentially what sound insulation is doing. Because it's flexible. It's taking those vibrations through the air, transferring them to heat, and then absorbing that energy. Yeah. So,
would you ever want an anechoic chamber?
No.
Why?
They scare me.
Oh, okay.
I'm frightened.
I've always wanted to experience one. Anechoic chamber is where it absorbs everything.
Yeah, it's no reflections.
Yeah.
The sound will not reflect. So, which is really weird. Because even in this room, which is treated okay, we have reflections. Mm-hmm. You're used to hearing your voice come back off of something.
Yeah.
But if it just leaves you and completely disappears, that's off-putting.
It's very unnatural.
Yeah. But there's a venue around here that has like the back of their stage covered in anechoic reflectors.
Really?
Yeah. I think those big triangle things. Mm-hmm. I'll think of it later.
I think there's a venue downtown that has something similar, but they're set up more as panels. So it's not like covering the entire back wall.
Oh,
but they have like panels of it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Because they look pretty intense.
Well, they're not intense. It's in a venue. A tent can be a venue, but in this scenario, it is not.
Okay.
All right. So some really, really good points that treatment, in the sense that we're talking about currently, absorbs, it absorbs sound, and really what it translates to is eliminating reflections for the most part.
Yes.
What I'm getting at is it is not the same thing necessarily as making a sound isolated room.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think people make the distinction incorrect a lot. Like a lot of people will look up like soundproofing.
Right.
You're never going to soundproof your studio 100%. If you do, that's not really what you want. I mean, one of the best sounding studios arguably was Sound City, and that place was crap. Mm-hmm. Like it sounded good because the walls were so thin, and it just like the sound went through the walls. Like
very live.
All these different things. It comes down to taste, and you'll find like once you start working in an imperfect room, or even a close to perfect room, you'll figure out the quirks in each one of those and use those to your advantage. Mine's really weird, but there's spots where I have like just wicked. What is that? Jackhammer. This is going to be a fun one.
Sound like an Autobot farted.
But
they probably won't be able to hear any of it, though.
I hope not. I hope you guys can't hear that, because what the heck are they doing? I have standing waves in this room in certain spots.
Is that where people... Woo!
Yep. That's one of them.
There's just always 10 to 20 people standing in the middle of the studio just doing the wave.
I have somebody, if somebody's playing the drums, you can walk around the room, and in different spots, you'll notice where like the kick pops out or the snare pops out or like the cymbals are overbearing. And I normally put like room mics. There's one right next to you, right there. And there's a wicked standing bass wave right there. And that kick sounds monstrous in that mic. Mm-hmm. So you can figure out those weird things in your room and just put a mic there.
Yeah, use them to your advantage. Mm-hmm. And that goes slightly different idea, but the way you have the room mic set up in your vestibule. Mm-hmm. just getting cool characteristics from odd mic placement.
And that's a gross sounding room. It's disgusting. You can't have a conversation out there because it's uncomfortable. It's that reflective. But when a drummer's playing in here and I keep that front door open, it sounds so cool.
Yeah.
And I use that. Like, a lot of people are like, you need too much reverb on your drum. Maybe, but I love that sound.
That's just a bad take.
I mean, for the right thing, I guess. I'm not going to do it for a jazz record, but it has that like cough aspect that I like, where when you hit a snare and it kind of sounds like a cough. Like the snare itself is a little drier, but then there's this bloom that happens after, and I feel like that room gives me that. The cough. That's what you go
The
after.
cough method.
Turn your head.
So I think that when somebody thinks of treating a room, the first thing that pops into their head are panels. And a lot of people will get the big box of like auralex panels or some equivalent of those. And looking around here, you have none of those.
Because they don't do anything.
Oh, no.
I mean, they do a little. They do a little. But it's so expensive.
It's extremely expensive.
It's so expensive.
Even the off-brand ones. Am I right in understanding that auralex is a type of material, but more than that, it's kind of like the Kleenex brand issue that we have where people say Kleenex, but they really just mean tissue?
Maybe. Yeah, I think. I've never looked at sound insulation and been like auralex. But maybe people do. If that's the case, yes, I agree.
So why don't they do much? Is it the density of the material? Is it the thickness?
I mean, I don't want to say it just doesn't do anything. I guess what's affordable based on, because I'm always tilted in the sense that I'm going to try to do it myself if I can, or at least I have that as an option. So I've got all this stuff in my back pocket that I can do, or I know I can do for X amount of budget. Then if I look at like, okay, I want to save the time. Maybe I don't want to build it. Look at these other options, and auralex is obviously, it's always there. It's accessible wherever you are. You can buy them in kits. You can buy it in individual pieces. It's kind of whatever you want it to be.
You can get different colors.
Yeah. Well, do they still have like the room designer thing? I know that was a big thing.
I haven't been on their website
years
in a very
ago.
long time.
Which was cool, but it was extraordinarily expensive. And I mean, I've been in some rooms that were just done with auralex, and I was not impressed. I mean, that's not necessarily a shot to the company itself, because I have auralex pads that my speakers sit on.
Oh, that's true. I do too. Yeah.
I have their sub thing. I've got some of their products, but as far as like fully decking out your room in this stuff, I never found it to be quite effective based on the price.
Based on the price for sure. It's going to be better than nothing.
Yeah,
Throwing
absolutely.
some of their foam on the walls is going to be
If
better
you've
than
got
blank
nothing
walls.
and endless pockets, go auralex, man. I mean, it's going to be the easy answer. You just keep throwing product at it until it works. It'll work eventually. But there's so many other ways to do it. I mean, because you're going to put it up yourself anyway. So DIY is going to come into the picture at some aspect anyway. So I don't know. For me, this was the easier answer for sure.
I'm skipping around here now, but what's your thought on like laminate, hardwood versus carpet? How do you feel about reflections from the floor?
I mean, if like this, I have hardwood everywhere. It's kind of a means to an end for me, because although this building is on a slab, and I would love to have it just as a slab, it was cost prohibitive to like get to the point where that made sense for me, because like finishing it, polishing it, grinding it, and there were like walls in this place before, so there's
Holes and stuff.
Yeah, like it needed some work, and that is not something that I'm very good at. So my first thing to do was like I'm gonna put wood over it or laminate over it, and it doesn't sound great, which is why I cover it in rugs most of the time. But I really like rooms. All other things being equal, like if the room itself is relatively tame and the floor is cement slab, I love that sound.
Okay, interesting.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with I mean, the reflections you're going to get from laminate can be so easily changed with like a decorative rug. So if a floor fixes other issues for you, I don't think it's something to worry about. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's especially if you think about how you're setting up mics and the rejection pattern of that mic is probably rejecting most of the floor. Now the floor is going to be sending reflections in any number of ways. So you're going to hear the floor in your room as well as like the amalgamation of everything in your room. So it's one of those pieces in it. To me, it's like everything's a moving target anyway. Mm-hmm. So do what you can with what you have.
Totally.
And for me, that was a laminate floor.
yeah, definitely. I'm going to continue jumping around here because I'm just curious and my brain's going every which way. How many years has it been since you had a conventional desk in your control room? Did you ever, I'm trying to think way back to the start. Did you ever have a conventional desk where you had surface in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, every desk up till this one. Yeah. So how long have I had this one for now? I made a video on it. I don't know. We can go back and try to find it. It might be close to a year and a half or 2 years. So
the reason behind the question is, did you notice a big difference from desk reflections?
Yeah. I mean, the way I'm doing it isn't perfect by any means. So it's like, it's give and take all the time. And even that was DIY, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but not having stuff in front of you does, you kind of get rid of those reflections that are coming off the desk. And I don't know, it was easier for me. And I mean, I like to move around anyway. So it just made sense. I mean, you can make sitting desks work. But I mean, you do see in like some of the bigger like mastering houses, like they're completely getting rid of their desks and just going to like a very small, just enough to have a keyboard on.
Well, and especially you don't need a console anymore the way you used to.
Yeah. Some people like that workflow, but it never latched on with me. Yeah. I don't know.
I love the feeling of your current setup. Something about studios where they do have a desk, it feels like you're cut off from the engineer. And maybe that's just something in my head or from my like N of one experiences, but something like that is so much more open and I don't know, feels more inviting. Even if you're saying they're working on stuff, like you're not just in the center with your hands all on the faders and, you know, it feels like we can be like, hey, Jeremy, blah, 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 blah.
That's how he talks.
It is. Really, in the studio sessions, I only communicate with grunts. Finite vocabulary.
Oh, man. I love getting these fake package alerts.
You mentioned the fake package alerts. Do you ever get those texts that at first you don't really know, like you have a suspicion that they're fake, but you don't really know, and it's like, hey, blah, 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 this is Ava.
He does talk.
I do talk like that. This is Ava wondering if we were going to still get together for breakfast tomorrow or something.
I've never gotten those. I've seen people who do, but I've never gotten one.
I've gotten a handful of them, and I got one 2 days ago at my gig, and I was just sending screenshots to Kara over and over, just like typing up the conversation. Because it gets pretty fun when you just like act like you know them, and they just don't know how to respond.
Hey, Ava, how's Brian doing? Is he out of the hospital yet? So, insulation
station.
So, I am curious if we want to look up like auralex, and I don't want to seem like I'm dumping on a company here.
And to be fair, they're not the only company out there. They're doing all this stuff. I think there's one like Acoustica is another company that sells different acoustic treatment stuff, and there's a whole lot of companies out there doing it.
Custom printed acoustic absorbers. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. But you could make your own version of that too.
B-stock, dream room types, Residential, commercial. Let's see residential. Home studio.
Okay.
It's the room. Don't do this. Do this. Cover windows. I mean, all these are good tips. Add bass traps, mopeds. That's what I use. Subdued. That's what I use. Like they're similar products. Like their single products are really cool. Mm-hmm. They talk about the mirror trick. That's a great trick.
Yes.
You know the mirror trick?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to know it.
Nah, it's not important for you. Only us. We're going to gatekeep the mirror trick.
Okay, we'll tell you.
Oh, no. We already told him we weren't.
I'm going to tell him. Stop.
No, hey, I cannot believe that you're undermining my parenting skills right now.
Take a mirror, put it on the wall, and wherever you can see your speaker, that's where you put your treatment. That's it.
Wherever you can see the speaker from
your seated position.
Yeah.
And you could do it on either seated position. So if you have like a couch where clients sit, you can do that trick there. So then they don't get those reflections too. And you can do that everywhere. Put it on the ceiling. Do that. Put it on the floor. Put a rug there. There you go. That's it. He wants to gatekeep it. Sorry.
I didn't want to. I was just supporting your decision not to tell them, Jeremy. We're a team.
See, and this stuff just, it looks, I don't like the looks of it. I'm sorry. It's just me. I want to see like a room package because I know they used to do that.
Like a bundle deal?
Yeah, room kit. Pro panels. $1,000 for 5 or 6.
And those are the large, what size are they? Does it give you a dimension?
This is like what you see in every school.
Yeah.
Sandstone. I mean, those look good. I will give them that. They look really good. 2x2x4, 2 inches thick.
And then they're 2 feet by 4 feet in dimension.
So 24x48. So
sizable.
I mean, that's what we would be making on our own. But 6 of these cost how much? $1,000.
That's a crazy amount of money.
You want me to save you some time and money? I mean, maybe not. I've never actually sat down and done the math. Should we?
We should. I think that would be worth it.
6 panels.
Maybe we come out on the other side and realize that you wasted money not buying this pack.
But 2 inches thick, I just don't know. I don't know what damage 2 inches can do on a wall. I heard it as it came out. Because
I guess it all depends on, maybe they have some state-of-the-art innard technology that just absorbs more effectively than what we could build in a DIY version.
Look, there's a finite amount of materials out there. And I mean, Auralex isn't getting this place from some secret cave somewhere.
You don't think so?
Maybe. So here's what I would do. Let me make sure, because this is labeled 24. So this is actually 24. So in one of my videos, I talked about getting Rockwell, and the 24 seems to be available next to me. What is this? So I can get it the 25th. Special order, minimum quantity of 12. So maybe let's not do that.
You don't want 12 packs of it?
I mean, I like the 24, but if
what is the 24?
It's 24 inch width.
Okay.
So when you're buying Safe and Sound, it's all going to be 4 foot, but you can get it in 16 or 24. The idea is like, if you're doing a new construction, that's standard stud length. Yeah. So you either have a 24 inch stud or a 16 inch. Spaces between the studs. And that stuff is meant to like sandwich right in there and be built into a wall.
Did you put this in your walls when you made your walls? There
is in the walls, yeah. And that's like, there's also air gaps in my walls, and I'm trying to minimize transmission between rooms. But if that's not a concern of yours and you don't have to worry about transition from room to room, You can also like surface mount. Is that what I'm like?
I think so, yeah.
Hang it on the wall.
Hang it on the wall.
And that's mainly what we're going to be talking about, because if you're redoing like a home studio or you're working in an apartment, you don't have the luxury of putting this in the wall.
Right.
Here we go. Here is 16. $80. I can pick it up within 3 hours. There are 18 in stock at aisle 18 bay 3. And so with this, $80, $79.98. You want to keep track of numbers for me?
I'll keep track of the numbers.
Because I'm trying to beat 6 panels at $1,000.
Let me get something here to write with. So $80.
Yep, $80 for a 1-pack of Ruxel Safe and Sound 16-inch width. So again, these right off the bat, these are 8 inches smaller, but we have 12 bats in a pack. So I'm already covering way more square footage than just that. And these are 3 inches thick, not 2.
Okay, so we've got
3-inch thickness. So, I mean, effectively, you could double this up and get 6-inch
panels.
6-inch panels. If you just want 6, that'll be immensely more effective.
But then you'll have to also get the wood sizing the same size.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get fence post.
Oh,
if you want to really save some money and you're going to cover it with fabric anyway, you can get like the really cheap fencing.
Well, hold on before you get off of there.
I see. I'm ADD. Here we go.
16-inch width, 3 inches thick.
Yep.
And you said how many?
12.
12 of them.
So I get 12. So we could do 12 3-inch thick right off the bat. So $80.
And you said they're all 4 feet.
They're all 4 feet
in length.
Yep.
Okay.
So like this big old brick, like you open it up with a knife and it'll like expand.
That's cool.
And yeah, inside it's just this gross insulation.
What's it smell like?
I mean, do you smell it now? You're surrounded by it everywhere.
Well, I mean, usually those kind of things have a unique smell when you first open
It
them,
doesn't
right?
smell like anything. Like it's like crushed up stone and slag, and it doesn't smell like anything. And then very little dust. And with this kind of stuff, you don't get itchy. No, I'm not going to tell you not to wear a mask. You probably should. I never did. Easy way to cut it if you have to cut it. Get a bread knife, like the real long serrated bread knives. Or if you have a drywall knife, if you're doing like new construction, you'll probably have a drywall knife with you, like the big serrated guys. The bread knife, just what you don't want to do is like compress it and cut it, because it never comes out clean. But those bread knives, it's so nice.
I prefer a samurai sword.
I have bought so many packages of this stuff. I probably still have some in the closet. Come on out the closet. It's okay. It's nice out here. So
we got our rock wool.
We got our rock wool.
So if we're just building panels right now, we really only need 3 things, right? We need the filling, which is the rock wool. We need our frame, and then we need whatever we're going to cover it with. And that's kind of it.
Yeah. So...
And hardware for mounting and for attaching your covering, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh, geez, Rick. You ever watch Rick and Morty?
I never did, no.
Oh, man, it's a fun time.
What are those called? Fence?
Posts?
Not
Panels,
a post.
Fences. Fencing. On the fence.
What are they called?
Fence fries.
Fence fries. What? Wood fencing pickets. Boom. This is the cheap way to do it. As you can get like an 8-foot section and cut that down into 2 4-foot pieces. I mean, it's gnarly wood, but most of the time it's straight. And you can get a bunch of it for pretty cheap. Now, what is this? That can't be $38 for one of them. These used to be like $1 a piece. There. Wait a second. Oh, that's screws. Hang on. Where am I at here? Okay. $2 for a 6-foot pressure treated. Now, it is kind of overkill, but sometimes you can find this on a crazy sale, and that's a cheap way to buy wood. But if you wanted like a 1x4, I mean, you can go anywhere and get like a 1x4. So here's 16 feet for $16. One of those will make one of my panels. So
you want to go? What are we going with? Are we going with the fence posts or the 1x4?
I would probably do 1x4s if I have the option.
Sounds like it might be
because there's definitely cheap ways. Lowe's, see, I have a Menards, and that's typically where I'm gonna buy wood is Menards.
That's the one we didn't think about earlier. I was asking you, what are the other other stores like that?
See,
I didn't even think about saving big money at Menards.
Yeah, you can 11% rebate on everything.
Fun fact about
fencing's right there.
Fun fact about Menards: when I was a wee lad, I was just as much of a nerd then as I am now, and I played computer games. And Menards had a section for PC games, and they were one of the only places around that I knew about at the time where you could get really cheap indie-made games.
I didn't know that. I spent the majority of my childhood at a Menards because my dad was like, he was a DIYer through it. He built our house. Mm-hmm. He built my house. He helped build this space. Like, I spent a lot of time at Menards. Didn't know that.
Dude, I would make a beeline for that section every time we went.
Those are 3 foot. They're 88 cents. That's 3 foot. So let's say we want 8 foot because we're going to cut it down. $1.87.
Okay.
I need 2 of those to make one panel.
So that's 8 foot.
That's 8 foot.
And it's $1.87.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to end up with an extra section of 4 feet, but that's okay. Let's say we're going to toenail this into the wall, so you're going to keep that 2 foot for scrap, or if you make a mistake, whatever.
So you need 2 of those per panel?
Yeah. Because the idea is I'm going to make a box of 1x4 that one of those bats is going to fit in. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and then all we need is a stapler and
that's my stapler
and some fabric.
Question.
Yeah.
Does it matter that the frame will be 4 inches deep, but our rock wool is only 3 inches thick?
No. Well, okay. So 1x4. Look at this actual size. So it's actually 3/4 thick. By 3.5 by 8.
That's false advertising.
That's wood. That's wood in the United States and probably other places, maybe. Like a 2x4 is what, 1 5/8 by 3.5.
That makes no sense.
1 3/4 by 3.5.
I mean, I understand it's easier to say that, but wouldn't it just be easier to cut it at that size?
Yeah. Well, you want to get really pissed off. The 8 foot is not actually 8 foot. It says it here, but most of the time you're gonna get 7 foot and 15/16 like because of the saw blade. Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, you gotta know what you're buying, but like those sizes are not
accurate.
No, not even close.
Or do you think that they're doing the whole chips thing, where less chips, more air in the bag? Or how products get a little bit smaller as time goes on?
I've never thought about Pine and Doritos kind of fighting for that same kind of market efficiency, but
then what do you think about?
I think it's just somebody in the wood industry is like, I'm going to be greedy. I could save that 1/4 inch and then I get every 4th one. I get a free board. So effectively they did a markup of 25%. It'd be easy if we just called it what it was, but it's really hard to say, I'm going to go get a 3/4 by 3.5.
By 7 and 15/16.
Like, I need a 1x4.
Yeah.
We just accept it. So, $1.87, call it $2. So $4 per board. So what are we up to? $84 for.
Essentially, yeah.
So, but I need what did I say? I need 2 per panel.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to get crazy with this, we need 12. We need 24 of these. So to do the full pack of 12, so let's call it $2. I'll round it up. Whatever.
Okay.
So $48 plus our $80. We're up to 56. That's not how math works.
$128.
$128.
And that'll get us
that's
12 panels?
That's 12 bats in boxes. Now, one thing you're going to need is like a stapler. Is you can have like a brad nailer or something if you have like a compressor.
Who's Brad Naylor?
Anyway.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, and I have a lot of pent-up energy.
I could tell.
So you can get a brad nailer.
You can get a brad nailer if you have like an air compressor.
Okay.
The stapler's for the fabric.
Right.
But if you don't have any of this stuff, you could just get a hammer and nails and make this work. One of the easy things you can do, actually, let's look at the staplers while we're here.
You could also use like thumbtacks.
That's not really going to be a great option. Because we're not talking one of these little staplers. What are they?
Have you ever tried glue? Any type of fancy glue? I'm not talking that Elmer stuff.
Yes, but you need something to hold it together while it's setting. So here you go. Like this is the kind of stapler that you want. It doesn't have to be this one, but something like it, where like a heavy duty staple gun and some staples. Yeah. Call it $15. The staples cost almost nothing. And then you can reuse this whenever you want to. So that's going to attach the fabric to the wood. If you want to do this with like screws, you can get L brackets and tiny little screws. So that's kind of what we want, but that's a really big version of it. I just need a tiny little L bracket. Here, that'd be about perfect. $20 each. Nope, that's a deck grade. There you go. That's perfect.
For a 4-pack?
4-pack.
So that'll be an extra $2 per panel.
Call it $4 and we'll get all of the screws we need for the entire project.
So $4 per panel, is that what you mean?
Yeah, if you get like little tiny 3/4 inch screws and this, you can put the whole thing together without any other tools. So we'd need 12 of these. So again, call it $2. So another $24 total to build 12 of them. If you want to do this, you don't have to do. I don't use these brackets when I build them.
Well, if you're including screws for $2 more, then it would be $48 per panel.
Well, the screws would be like, we can buy all the screws for a couple bucks.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Their screws aren't going to be.
I didn't think so, but hey, I'm just going off your word.
No, that's fine. So that'd be, you need 12 of those at 2. So
24.
$24. Call it $30, and that's all of our brackets and screws.
Okay.
And the screws, you'd just be looking at some machine screw or like a wood screw. That's maybe 3/4 of an inch long. It doesn't have to be crazy.
Yeah.
And you could also do this with a hammer and nails if you wanted to do that. This is just going to be like another way to do it. Put them on the inside of your corners and it'll hold it.
And it's going to be a lot easier to get them even with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have brackets.
But these things are real forgiving. Like they're going to flex a little bit. They're going to bend a little bit. And it all comes together when the fabric goes over. So that's everything we need for the construction.
Yeah. The only thing left is fabric.
So what I do.
Are you a Joann's boy?
I am, because it's like right here in town.
Joann's is great.
There's always something on sale. And Joann's, like, ask your mom if she's into Joann's. She probably has a mountain of coupons because they always have a mountain of coupons. And just get whatever's on sale. Like, I did a lot of damage when I first built the studio with burlap. Yeah, Nope, I don't need that. I wonder, can we just get like black burlap?
Is there a difference in wrapping material that you've noticed?
As long as you can breathe through it, or you can blow through it and
Or
air
like
goes
hold it
through.
up to the light and you can see.
Yeah, I don't know that the light trick. I mean, because then you could have something translucent, but
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
But airtight.
so as long as air travels through it, you're fine, because that's what you want. You want the air to be able to flow through. So here you go, burlap, $4 a yard, and it's 44 inches wide.
Oh, so that's perfect.
So a yard and a half will get us 2 panels. So
we need
math time.
3.
6 of those. I need 9 yards. 9 times 4. $27. And that's like,
You said 27?
yep, $27. And that's literally everything we need.
That's all of it.
I
so
mean,
it's
wait, should I include anchors? I mean, I know Auralex.
Oh,
Auralex does not give you the stuff to hang them on the walls, but should we?
yeah. I mean, so you'll need an extra set of nails and then some hardware to hang them.
So here's what I do, because these are not heavy.
Do you use like the photo type of things?
Yeah. What's it called?
Alternatively, you could just make these on a like stand, and then you have mobile panels as well. I've seen some studios use things like this in that manner, especially if they have like one big live room and they'll set drums up in a different location depending on what's happening.
Yes, and I mount that's like that big thing right there is just 4 of those panels stuck together, put on wheels.
Yeah.
They're great. So I want French cleat hangers. Here we go. This is, I think, what I've got. Heavy duty 10-inch 2-pack. You don't need heavy duty. I mean, these things weigh like 10 pounds max. I think this is what I've got. 50 pounds. Yep, this is perfect. It comes with anchors to put it in your walls. So if you're renting a space, all you're going to need is like a little bit of paint and a little bit of putty. When you're done, just fill the hole and you're gone. Or you can do the toothpaste trick. Never really worked. Fill the hole with toothpaste. So this is 3 pairs. So we need 4 of those, right? Yeah.
Oh, do you put 2 on each one?
Yeah. So that would be $60.
I feel like there's way more affordable options.
Oh yeah, but I'm
Like-
covering every single base here.
Yeah.
I
that's
even bought you a stapler.
That's true. That's a nice way to hang them. I mean, I imagine like you really, when you're wrapping the fabric, you could just like keep 2 little additional holes on the back, 2 nails in the wall, and then bloop, hang it on
Yeah, you can
the frame itself.
I have some where I just use like those like 50-pound metal anchors that, and then just stick some screws out of the wall and just lip it over the wood. And that's fine. This is a little more stable, and you can slide it back and forth, and it's not gonna like change the angle of the thing. Like those hanging right there are using those.
Yeah.
So what do we have here?
Well, let's see.
So we have $80 for the pack.
Yep. Plus 48 for the wood.
Yep.
Plus 15 for the stapler and staples.
Yep.
Plus 38 for the brackets and screws.
Yep.
Plus 27.
And that's like, you don't even have to get that. You could do it with a hammer and nails are like $2 for a pack.
Well, let's do.
What's next? 27?
Yeah. So 27 for the burlap. And then 60 for the French cleat hangers.
$268
For 12 panels.
for 12 panels. And let me tell you how fast this can go. Because you have 8-inch boards and you're going to be making 24 4-foot runs. So you would just take a bunch of those and immediately cut all of them in half.
Yep.
So, and then immediately cut a bunch of 2-foot sections.
We didn't include like a circular saw or table saw or anything in our price.
Okay. Okay. We don't need it. And I'm assuming you have something to measure with, but if you don't, let's add that too. Why not?
I think at the end of the day, you could get
a collection of tools if you wanted to. Like, I mean, that's the sad part here. Okay, here. Give him $8 for a
and that's
tape
an
measure.
expensive tape measure.
Yeah, well, it's a self-lock. We're not buying crap here. Trying to see if I can find my favorite. Whatever. It's a tape measure. Who cares?
So $8.
$8, whatever. And we need like a saw.
Surely not a hand saw.
That's what I'm looking up.
Gross. I got a super cheap, like handheld circular saw. I want to say it cost me like $24.
Yeah. In a 1x4, you don't need anything big, but like here's a Craftsman hand saw. If you don't want an electric tool, $15. But a circular saw, and you could go this route for like $60, which I don't care for these. I try not to use that tool as much as possible.
Yeah, you can get a table saw, I suppose. That would still be cheaper.
Yeah.
than getting
like,
the 6
and you
panels.
have a tool. So, I mean, what's the cheapest miter saw we can buy here? I'm just curious. Because the other thing about miter saws, if you want a miter saw, go to a pawn shop. They are always at pawn shops. That's how I got mine. I literally got this one right here. The 12-inch 15 amp, the $650. Guess what I paid for that at a pawn shop? And it worked. It completely worked.
$5.
$75.
That's not bad.
No. And it basically brand new at a pawn shop.
You just got to get a new blade for it. Yeah.
Really sad because somebody was desperate. It had a brand new blade on it.
Or it was stolen.
I've since
Jeremy, did
replaced
you
it many
purchase
times.
stolen goods?
That's on them. They say it's not stolen. Well, here's a super cheap $100 if you want something. And this, well, that's a 7 1/4. So will this cut 4-inch stock? Yep. It'll cut 4 1/4. You can cut up to a 2x4 cutting capacity. That is 90% of what you need a saw for. Right there. $100 if you want. So $368? What did we say? $268?
$268.
So $368 if you want to go buy a saw.
Plus another $8 if you don't own a tape measure.
There you go. And you have twice the amount of what you could have bought them for. And the next time this is going to be dumb cheap because you don't have to buy tools. What is this without tools? I'm curious. So
$268.
But we had the stapler in there.
Oh, that's true. So 80 plus 48 plus 27.
Ugh. It needs my face. Plus 27?
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yeah, that doesn't include the hanging hardware or the brackets and screws either. But that's like
that's more
all
apples
material
to apples.
cost.
Yeah, so $155.
Plus maybe $10 for nails and screws if you don't want to get brackets or anything.
So call it $165. Why
for
not?
12 panels.
Divide that by 12. They cost $13.75 each. And you can do that in a few hours.
Yeah.
And have them hung on your wall.
Take an afternoon.
Hours. Yeah, it's literally one of the easiest DIY projects out there.
And you can make them look nice. Like we put black burlap, but maybe you have a different color scheme.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanted like custom stuff. You can get different kind of printed canvases and patterns and all that kind of stuff too.
But take a look when you are buying fabric. If you want the bang for the buck, look at the width. Like, 'cause it'll say like 44-inch fabric or 48-inch fabric. if you know what width you're working on, like we're doing 16 inches, but we've got 3.5 on either side. So figure roughly 24, but I know I can cut that in half and I'm going to have more than enough to cover the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
just don't get anything that is less width than you need.
Yeah.
Because that would be.
That's actually going to be close, like 44 inch, because be 16, 3, 19, 23, so it'll be like 23 inches, give or take 22. That's going to be like right there. So that middle cut's going to have to be close, but burlap has a little bit of a stretch to it. So that's going to be close to get 2 of them, but still, it's hard to beat that cost.
That's crazy affordable.
Yeah.
I never sat down and did the math either. I knew it was way more affordable to make it yourself.
And it's easy. It's seriously easy.
So your like ceiling treatment and stuff, obviously this one is fancier because you have lights wired into it,
right.
But same format essentially.
It's literally the exact same thing. Like you guys can see
different frame.
that one right. Oh, how does this work? Yeah, this thing right there.
Beep, beep.
So it's literally just 2 panels of the same thing. I think I doubled them up. So it's 2 16s screwed together on either side. So that's a 16. That's a 16. That's screwed together. That's a 16. That's a 16. So it's basically 32 inches by 48. And then that is mounted into a big box of 2x4s going around the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And the middle pieces are just 1x4s. With a hole saw cut out, and I put LEDs in there. Yeah. And there's a control box on top, and then you run power to it, and that's it.
Yeah. That's the other cool thing about making your own is you can get like Govee lights or any other brand and just adhere some LEDs to the back. And now not only do you have some sound treatment, but now it looks cool. And you got RGBs.
Yeah. The last thing I think to talk about with this would be, effective ways to hang it. Most of my stuff is directly on the wall. If you're really trying to mitigate as much low frequencies as possible, if you can suspend this from the wall 3 inches.
Like so with spacers.
If you've got like a 3-inch gap behind it and then the 3 inches of insulation, that's the most effective low frequency you can get on the wall. The other thing you can do is cut these things into triangles and stack them in a corner. That's how you're going to do like a corner trap. The idea being like you want to get the most mass back there as possible. There's one of my buddies has cinder blocks stacked up in his corner. Again, you're just trying to get mass somewhere because mass is what's going to block sound. And then using this stuff is what's going to absorb sound. Mm-hmm. So
mass in the corner and then put something over it to absorb it all.
Yep.
Last one, right? Well, I guess we already talked about bass traps. So
yeah,
that kind of covers everything. I think one other DIY sound absorption idea is the curtain. Super valuable, I think. A little bit more expensive than building these panels if you're going to get the...
Yeah.
What's that stuff called? What's the fancy curtain, like the thick stuff called?
I don't know.
There's a name for it, but I don't remember.
I don't know. I have a video. You'll have to track it down. It's basically, I think the title of it was It's Finally Here, where I was unboxing this curtain right here. Mm-hmm. Same one as the red one in the back. But I link to a company in that video where I bought these like acoustic curtains. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want, if you go track down that video and put the link in the description, they're overseas. It's a shady buying process, but they're great and they're really cheap. Mm-hmm. And they're big. You can get them however you want. Like I got that custom size cut.
Nice.
That's like a 3-foot something, and I like this one here has grommets on it, so I could hang it from the pipe. I did the same thing back there. Mm-hmm. So you can get them done however you want and in any color you want. It's kind of wild. So I just went with black and red, but
yeah,
wild.
Now it's time for Record Rex.
Jeremy, what have you been listening to? I always do that. I always say, What have you been listening to? I never just get the whole idea out.
Consistency. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple here. Let me. No, I want to do something different. Well,
That's cool.
so, Baboon is the song. This Town Needs Guns is the band name.
I would not have thought that was the band name based on the album art. This is cool.
It just grooves,
Yeah.
man.
I like his voice too.
They're so good. It reminds me of like the Sound of Animals fighting type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but a more vibey version of that.
I kind of feel like almost like Mike Main's styled track, but more eccentric.
Mike Maines.
Yeah, Mike Main's in the Branches.
That dude slept on my couch.
I just gigged with him a handful of months ago.
Really, I have not listened to his music for a long time.
That Home album was on repeat for me for a long time.
I had no idea who he was, and he just slept on the couch. I mean, this was also like a decade and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Anyway, This Town Needs Guns.
It's cool stuff.
Oh, I know nothing about them, as all of my. But again, YouTube with the algorithm coming through.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The algorithm worked well for me this week.
what do you got?
So a couple of days ago, I came across this new release, Carnal,
It looks dark.
and I listened through the whole album not once but twice.
Okay.
First time in the gym, second time in the car.
Got the second pass.
Got the second
It
pass.
was at the gym.
The first pass was at the gym.
So this is heavy. Buckle up, everybody.
It goes fairly hard, but I think they tuned this for me. It's like I am the target audience. So the first track is an opening like cinematic sequence of really cool production and sound design. And I was like, okay, what is this? And then it flows straight into track 2. I didn't even know it went to a new track with a heavy breakdown to start it off.
Ooh.
So this is what sucked me in. The stereo field is really cool. The whole album is a really good like masterclass of vocal harmonies and using vocals as more synth type instrumentation as opposed to necessarily always vocal lines. But so many cool production techniques. I'm a sucker for any kind of vocal line like that, any kind of sound clip.
I like that they're setting the stage. Like you can tell they put thought into a record here.
Yes. They didn't do it for the singles. The album is a listening experience. So still building.
That was clean.
Yes. So clean.
That's cool.
So it gives me it tickles that part of my brain that's like, this is kind of Linkin Park. The way a lot of the vocals are and the way a lot of their
Like a new metal-y kind of.
yeah, in the new metal territory, but they have hooks on hooks. So many cool vocal line hooks, and then nasty breakdowns with, I'm assuming, a 7-string and or octaver of some kind jumping in.
Octaver. I freaking love it.
It's so very good.
I love when you can have a heavy record that has like space and openness and it like tickles all of those like I need like you get you get the aggression, but then you also kind of get this like meditative experience at the same time. When you can make a heavy record sound smooth, that's hard.
Yeah. And every song is in all caps, so you know it's good. Albums like this, especially in the modern era, to me, I still like them, but sometimes the songs blend together. You're like, I don't even know which song this is because it has the same sonic footprint as all the others. But on this album, it's cohesive as an album, and you can tell that it's the same group, but they're not afraid to dip their toes into different territory and have a different footprint per song. And I really like it. It's good stuff. Carnal is the group.
That's a good pick.
And the band is Nothing More. Carnal is the album.
Nothing More? Okay.
Yep.
Sweet. That's a good rec.
I liked it. I was happily surprised. The algorithm treated me very well.
Do you guys listen to any of the recs that we tossed out? I'm curious. What are you listening to?
What are you listening to?
Did you make it this far?
If you didn't make it this far, I'm going to assume that it's because you got halfway through realizing that this is an extremely affordable, really good way to treat your room, and you just
does Lowe's have affiliate
just left.
I wish Lowe's had affiliate links because every time I'm like, go build it yourself.
Go do it yourself.
Do they have? Are there hammer emojis?
Surely
Don't
there's
call
a
me
hammer.
Shirley. Put a hammer emoji down there if you made it this far, and a turkey. Nobody would come up with it on their own.
That's true.
If somebody hasn't finished it, they're like, why is there a hammer and a turkey?
I'd be very confused. Yeah.
We're smashing turkeys around here.
Not to be confused with Smashing Pumpkins.
We're smashing that like button.
Ooh, yeah.
Do it? What's a question?
Do it. Also consider subscribing if you would be so kind. And let us know if you're going to go out and make some acoustic panels of your own. Maybe you already have. Maybe you have a different way of doing things. I feel like, I don't know how you would do it differently, but surely there's other ways.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could do like cool, like different patterns, different shapes. They don't have to be rectangles.
There is a whole other material called 703 that is a more rigid panel. It doesn't serve the same purpose that I've used it for, but you can literally, like, they make spike strips that you put on your wall, and you can literally just hang that thing on your wall.
Oh, cool.
So it gets rid of the need for like a frame, because rock wool on its own is not strong enough to hold together. It needs a structure, but that stuff is. But it also doesn't absorb the same way because it's a rigid material.
Yeah.
So give and take.
Give and take. We didn't even dip our toes into diffusion or anything like that, but we can talk about that another day.
Oh, you can take a just quick little B-roll video of the one over here I made. It was a nightmare. Don't do it. It was awful.
If you made it this far, I'll cut to that. But
yeah.
I think that's going to be it.
Cool. See ya.
Bye.